So is this the best reel mower currently on the market? Let's find out. Today I'm here with the Toro Flex 1021. This is a 2020 model. Many would say this is the best reel mower currently on the market. Before we dive into all the details, let's have a mow. Alright guys, so I want to show y'all something real quick. If you take a look here, this is something that I see come up in a lot of reel mower groups, especially Bermuda groups. You can see those little ridges, some call them hard lines. A lot of people kind of relate these things to turf density. Typically when it gets to this point, the turf needs to be thinned out. And you can achieve that either using a verticutter, turf rake, dethatcher, groomer, if you have a greens mower with a groomer equipped. But these hard lines or ridges happen for a number of reasons. Again, typically turf density is one of the main causes. From my personal experience, grooved rollers versus a smooth roller can make a huge difference in the overall cut quality and the appearance of the turf. For the sake of this video, I am using a grooved roller on this Flex 1021, but I do have a smooth roller and the cut quality is night and day difference. Typically whenever you're dealing with warm season turf or thatch producing grasses that get overly dense, this is something you're going to experience. And so a grooved roller is going to be a little bit more aggressive as far as the way it digs into the turf. You're not going to get this as much with a smooth roller as you do a grooved roller, even though a grooved roller looks much cooler. Another thing is whenever you're spraying PGR, we're doing that obviously to slow down growth. But one thing you get with PGR is lateral growth. You're going to get a lot more shoots and density in the turf, and that overcrowding is going to make the turf even more spongy, also causing these lines to show up in the turf. So that's just a little tip. A smooth roller versus groove can make a huge difference. Alright guys, so this is a 2020 model Toro Greensmaster Flex 1021, totally redesigned, totally different than the previous 21 models, even the 2100 series. Let's dig into it, take a look at a few features that kind of differentiate this one from some of the previous generations. Alright, so there's a couple things that I wanted to point out on this one. This mower is completely modular, which means you can break a lot of the mower down without having to use any tools whatsoever. The cutting units on these flex mowers have always came off. You've always been able to take just the unit itself, get it ground, put it back on the mower without having to tow the whole thing to your mechanic. These here, you have these little tabs. You don't even need any tools. You release the tabs, you can pull the cutting unit off. Much of the mower is basically assembled this way. So this is just one thing that I really like about it. As you'll see, this mower here is also equipped with a steel groomer. So this groomer obviously is adjustable, just like your height of cut. Generally, the rule of thumb for a groomer is you either want to set it at your height of cut or no more than half of your height of cut. And this is going to help thin the canopy. It's going to lift up the blades of grass. It's not quite as aggressive as a verticutter, but it does a really good job of keeping the turf thinned out, especially once you get mid-July and August when the turf is really dense. Everything's growing super fast. This is a great way to kind of keep it from getting spongy, which will address those hard lines that we talked about earlier. If we come around and we look at the side of the mower, you can see more of this kind of modular new design that they have here. The groomer on this one actually has its own independent drive system. This technology isn't new or specific to this mower. It's actually been around for a while. Some of the original generations were actually belt driven. So whenever the reel was engaged, the groomer was engaged too. If you look here, this one actually has a neutral, reverse, and forward, which means you can spin the groomer in two different directions. So you can either have the groomer spin in reverse, which kind of combs and lifts the blades up, or you can have it go forward, working with the direction of the cutting unit. I don't really have a personal preference, but I definitely will not own a mower unless it has this feature attached to it. So a couple more features that I wanted to point out is basically how the controls in the handlebar works. On the previous generations, you actually had a lever here which engaged the drive system as well as the reel, and the two were kind of independent of one another depending on which direction it was placed in. Now everything is actually controlled. This lever here is actually what engages the reel. So whenever it's up, the reel does not spin. Whenever it's down, the reel is engaged. In addition to that, there's no other levers or anything for the drive system. So everything is controlled by this bell. When the bell is pulled in and up, the mower begins to move forward. So it's super easy, very intuitive. Ergonomically, the way the handlebar controls are set up with this, it creates a really nice experience. Obviously you can mow, whatever's comfortable for you guys, but this new design is a lot simpler than the way it was set up previously. And to be honest with you, having used this mower all season long, I really like the way this is designed. If we come around here to the back of the mower, you can kind of see how the controls are set up a little bit differently. I'm not exactly sure what this whiteboard looking thing is used for. To be honest with you, the golf course that I acquired this from, they actually had all their greens mowers set up with the height of cut written down with basically a dry erase marker. So you can write your height of cut, wipe it off. It's very easy to keep clean, but that's what they were using it for. The throttle controls, a little bit different than the previous models, but obviously you can still adjust them with your thumb. You have your lights for the LEDs, and then of course your on-off switch. So overall, the mower is very, very simple, but this new redesign is really, really nice. One thing that I like on this one is if you look at the back of it, you do have telescoping handlebars now, which you did not have before. Give me just a second and I'll show you how this works. So with this new design, obviously operators can be various heights. I'm personally about 6 foot, so I like the way it's set up now. But with this one, all you have to do is grab this bar and this lever, and you can actually slide adjusting. But this here makes it super easy for taller or shorter operators, and so I really like this design. Again, it's been a really solid mower since I've had it. Another feature that Toro added to these is if you look here, you've got this lever and you can actually see an H and an L. So this lever right here actually adjusts the frequency of clip. This is usually something you only see on hybrid mowers such as the John Deere 220E with the electric reels. You do have more control as far as being able to adjust the clip frequency. So on these, Toro has actually added this. So you have a high clip frequency and a low clip frequency. So depending on what your height of cut is, obviously the lower the height of cut, the higher blade count you're going to have on the reel. But if you're mowing anywhere from 3/8, 1/2 inch, 5/8, something like that, you can actually loosen this nut, flip the lever around to low, and it will actually have a lower clip rate, which is going to be more ideal for higher height of cuts. The only other mower that I've seen that does this is Baroness, but most of the hybrids, you have a digital control and you can adjust that accordingly. For homeowners, it's not really practical, but for the golf course supers, it's nice because they can dial everything in accordingly. But this mower is super nice. If you guys have any questions about it or Bermuda in general, don't hesitate to reach out, leave your comment, feedback, let me know what you guys are mowing with.